Hi, welcome back to my channel. As you could tell, today's video is going to be about getting back with your ex. If you missed my last video, go watch it. Watch all the way to the end. It's like 4 p.m. The sun is setting, not even sun because it's so cloudy today, but the day is setting very, very quickly, and my friend Hadley's coming over tonight, so I really should be cleaning. But all I want to do is film this video because it's been on my mind and I'm in a good headspace to like chat about it right now. Also, today was my first appointment at the new clinic that I went to, so I have my little blood drawn bandage on. If you see this at all, that's what it is. I don't know when that video is going up, but I did film a video about this today. If it's not up yet, subscribe so you don't miss it. In my last video, I talk about getting my hopes up and not really knowing what's going to happen. So right now it's a Monday, and last Friday I went to go talk to Tyler again. He had decided what to do and I was super, super nervous, so I vlogged those days. Go watch that video if you haven't. But at the end of that video, as you may have guessed or seen, we got back together. And I wanted to do a video about this topic because getting back together with an ex can be kind of a judgmental decision. I think it really depends on the situation, but we've all probably been there or know someone who's been there, and you might have an on and off fling yourself, which I typically am not that type of girl. I've never gotten back with someone who has ended our relationship or thing. I think it can cause trust issues and kind of like the anxiety of not knowing if they're going to do it again. But for this situation, no one cheated. There wasn't anything drastic. It was primarily mutual. We both knew that eventually, because one person wanted kids and the other didn't, that would be the end of our relationship. It just took us breaking up for me to realize that like I don't want to have to choose something between him. I would rather choose him, and that is my decision right now. So we talked about it, and he and I decided to get back together. I'm really happy. We are happy. We are happy with this decision. I did ask him if he was happy and if this is what he wanted as well, and he said yes, so we are back together. Honestly, I am so thankful. The next day after we got back together, the sky was like on fire. It was so pink. It was beautiful. I really took that as a sign that the world is right again, and the universe showed me some light and color after weeks of dull and darkness. So that was beautiful for me to see. It just really spoke to me on like a spiritual level. But you know, before this whole situation, I will admit I had been slightly judgmental of people that got back together with their exes, because in my head, there's a reason why they're your ex, you know? Something happened, and why would you get back together with someone that hurt you or broke your heart or made you an ex in a way? It was kind of complicated. And you know, it was my brother's birthday the other night, so I was at home when I was leaving, and I told him I was going to go, you know, get pizza with Tyler, hang out. My youngest brother, who is 8 years old, he just turned 8, so he's little, he goes, "Aren't you mad at your boyfriend for breaking up with you?" And it was just so pure and innocent, and like, yeah, like that would make sense, right? And I told him, no, not anymore, like, which I wasn't ever really mad at him, but you know, I told him, no, I'm not mad. But I can see why he would think that. And I can see why, as a friend, if my friend was hurt and crying and posting videos like me about the breakup just to turn around and be like, never mind, we're back together, everything's fine, I would be like, girl, next time give me 3 to 5 business days before I comfort you to know whether or not you're gonna get back together. We've all seen those tweets about the girls who say that they have to pretend that they didn't say all those mean things about their friend's boyfriend when they broke up, not knowing that they would get back together. Yeah, it's a little tricky, and I understand if people are confused or think like that, and I don't want it to take away the validation of my emotions or my hurt, because all of that was genuine and raw, and it just adds to this whole experience. And maybe, I mean, I can't see the finish line. I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe at the end I'll watch all these videos and be like, yeah, the proof is in the pudding, girl. But for now, this is me just documenting it all. And I'm sorry you're shaking. You're on the cat tree and Luna is going at the toy. I think there are certain situations where it can be healthy to get back together with an ex. I think there are also certain situations where it might be toxic or unhealthy. It just really depends on what worked and what didn't work in the relationship, why you ended it, who ended it, and the reasoning behind it. I don't want to have to constantly be in the state of anxiety worrying about whether or not Tyler is going to change his mind again and break up with me. Like, you have to have really strong communication and speak up. One thing that I noticed in like the few days that we have been back together is both of us have been a lot more vocal about things that we like or dislike or want or don't want in the relationship. I remember the first morning afterwards, he was like, okay, new rule, you can't cuddle me at night because I can't sleep. But then again, I was probably extra cuddly and extra clingy because we had just gotten back together and I missed him. But it's something that, like, yeah, we've been together for a year and he hasn't really spoken up about that. And I've done it too. I can't remember any off the top of my head where I would, you know, tell him that, like, I prefer this, or no, I don't really like that. I just know right now we're at like this fresh slate and state of mind to speak our minds more and just be more honest with one another, because I guess I just kind of like word vomited everything on my mind. But we are back together. I'm so happy, and thank you everyone. Okay, I'm so sorry this is shaking. Get out of the cat tree, you're shaking it. Got her. Okay, now it won't be shaky. I think it is still a healthy relationship. I don't think it's toxic. I think communication, like I said, was key based on the foundation that we have established and the reason that we broke up, the reason that I think it's okay to get back together. I'm good. I can't be the judge as to whether or not you should get back together with your ex, but hopefully this has helped you understand my decision as to why I thought it would be okay and why we both wanted to. Bottom line, we both prefer to have each other in our lives. And when he was coming to his decision about whether or not to get back together, as was I, he was saying, you know, he thought about his life without me in it and he thought about his life with me in it, and preferred that I was in it, which makes me really happy. And I can say the same thing, because life without him was awful. It was horrible. It was difficult. I couldn't function, which kind of scared me. I don't think I'm dependent or reliable on him for my happiness, and I know over time like I would have healed, but it just kind of shows how happy he did make me and how much I did want him in my life. So I'm really happy that we were able to work this out. And what a vlogmas, right? What a weird vlogmas this year. Obviously, the one thing that I'm still working out is my health. I'm vlogging this experience as well, and I'll put all those clips once I feel like I've established a good storyline into one video to show you, so make sure you're subscribed. Also, one last thing, I don't know if I added this already or not, but yesterday it came up how I do feel it a little bit. I feel it festering. I feel it kind of like brewing inside of me, this unspoken or untangible fear that he may change his mind again and break up with me, because we had that discussion. We've had it multiple times before we broke up about kids and how we shouldn't be together because of it and how it's only going to end in us breaking up. So what are we doing? We're just wasting more time. So there is that fear still like festering inside, where he may decide that he doesn't want to waste my time again. Obviously, if we break up over other reasons, it's valid and it could happen. I mean, it's always possible in a relationship, but just this fear that like history may repeat itself, I just don't want it to happen, and it is scary, and you are trusting another person. But that being said, I trust him. I always have trusted him, and it's something that we just have to have good communication about. Like last night, he made a joke about something, about how he'd break up with me over it, which it was very light, like no concern there. It was just kind of like, watch out or I'll break up with you. I don't even know what it was about. And I laughed, but I also said you can't joke about that, because I already have this anxiety underneath that you might change your mind and do that. So you just have to, great, now Marnie's on the cat tree. You just have to establish some ground rules, but overall we're back together and I'm really, really happy, and that is the update, and that's the reason behind it. But thanks for sticking around through all the drama and the tears, and I'm really happy to have such a great support team online and everyone here cheering me on through my dark days and my brightest. Update on the puzzle. I'm so close to being done. I just need to complete this very, very complicated tree with all of the branches, and then another really, really dark tree that is in front of this dark building, and it's just almost impossible. I'm so proud. It's been a few days. It is now Thursday. Tyler and I have been back together for 6 days, almost a week. We got back together last Friday. So I wanted to just wrap up this video real quick, because there are a few things I wanted to mention about getting back together with someone that I didn't mention the other day when I sat down and talked to you guys. First things first, some other housekeeping updates that I need to tell you guys about is that today I got my new Sip Spy box in the mail. I'm sure you're very familiar with this because I mention them all the time. I'm trying to like find a good place to just like pop a squat. I'll just do this. I'm sure you're familiar because I mention them almost every single month, but Sip Spy is a monthly tea subscription. Can you hear Marnie scratching? It's like as soon as I start filming, they scratch. Marnie, you were sleeping a second ago. Anyway, Sip Spy is a monthly tea subscription box that I get every single month. They provide super personalized teas for you after you take a quiz online. It's very personalized. As you can see, it says made for Makayla, and this has all of the descriptions of the tea that they gave me. And then every single month, it's just like a fun little surprise of various teas. I like having a combination of both caffeinated and caffeine-free tea. So I have this one tea that it says it has as much caffeine as coffee, which I'm excited to try. I've got this pretty chamomile lavender tea. We've got some more matcha, and then we have this loose leaf black tea with lavender and jasmine, which looks really, really good. And then they always provide their own reusable tea bags as well for their loose leaf teas. So it's honestly really, really great. If you want your first box for free, click the link in my description box. And then if you want $5 off of your order, use my code Makayla5 at checkout. Thanks again, Subscribe, for sending me my box. I freaking love it. Anyway, before I end today's video, I just want to thank you guys for sticking around with me during these rough past 2 weeks. I honestly probably would have kept the breakup and all of my emotions inside without telling anyone, including my family, if it wasn't for Vlogmas. Just because last time I went through a breakup, I definitely kept the breakup a secret for about a month before telling anyone, a few months before telling the internet. So I'm not really sure what got into me this time, but I'm just really glad that I was open and vulnerable and decided to share it online, because so many people have reached out, so many friends have been there for me, and a lot of people also shared their own story. And I'm really glad that I was able to kind of put on a brave face and be vulnerable online like that. I don't want that to go unnoticed, and I don't want us getting back together to discredit or invalidate anything that I have said or went through, because all of it was real. And I just want to show my appreciation and thankfulness for you and all of your support. Us getting back together was definitely a very, very like well thought out decision. It wasn't impulsive. It was something that we discussed, and he took about a week to think about, and I wrote out a very long, thorough thing to read to him, basically just to help me like process everything before we decided this. But I firmly believe that it's okay and we're gonna be great. So I'm glad that there was hope. Just don't give up and be hopeful on whatever you're going through. I mentioned this the first Vlogmas video that I posted about us breaking up, but I mentioned how I've been watching a ton of Christmas movies lately, and one thing that all the movies have in common is magic. And I do believe that there is a little bit of Christmas magic floating around in the air right now. The full moon last night, I looked up and smiled at it, and I swear that it winked back at me. I just feel so, I don't know, it's like -4 degrees out today, but I felt warmth when I was outside, and I do think it's the Christmas spirit. I think it is magic. I think there was a little bit of magic that helped me out this month, so I just want to show my appreciation for that. I remember when Tyler and I were breaking up, basically, like that night we were talking about why and everything. He mentioned that he had a lot of love to give, and the issue that was kind of blocking our relationship said that it was holding him back, and he had more love to give, but he couldn't because of what we had to discuss and work out. I mean, it's only been a week, but so far I have noticed that there is more love, and maybe it is just the rush of us getting back together, and we might have taken a few steps back into the honeymoon phase again or whatnot, but it's subtle. But it's there and it's different, and maybe I'm the same way. I'm probably a little bit more like lovey-dovey and clingy right now too, because it is in a way like brand new, even though we have been together for a year, just because of the whole breakup and getting back together and being apart, and it making me realize how much I do value him and want him in my life. But even this morning, like, I stayed in bed and he went to go shower, and then when he came back, before, you know, getting ready for the day and getting dressed for work or whatnot, he just like completely smothered me with kisses. And it's just like little things like that where I'm sure it's because it's new again and it's all exciting, but it's a change, and I see it. So I'm hoping that now that we've had everything discussed out in the open and we are back together, that we can be stronger than we were before. And I hope that it can help him really give the love that he said he wanted to but felt held back because of our issue, if any of that made sense. That was just a little like happy thing that I realized afterwards of us getting back together, just like a little thought, a little observation that we are the same people, but I almost feel like right now we're better than we were before. I know that I was probably like kind of cranky and moody with him the last few weeks before we broke up, and a lot of that had to do with my health, and if you missed that video, it's super important to go watch that because that can play a part with my mood. But knowing that I lost him and it was so hard and I don't want that to happen again, I feel like we both are just being really, really on our best behavior right now, and I'm not complaining. Even the other night, I forget what it was that he wanted, that he like got his way, but he was like, I wonder how long you're gonna keep this up, because right now it's like whatever he wants. We can go to bed at 9, he can pick the restaurant to go eat at, he could get me a pack of gum for Christmas because I gave him a Christmas list. I had some tiny things on there too, and one of them was gum, but like he could give me a pack of gum and I would be happy just because he's in my life, and that's all that really matters. So yeah, those are the changes that I've noticed. I've noticed that we are are just kind of like back in that flirty, lovey-dovey honeymoon phase because we realized how grateful we are for one another, and I've noticed that he is showing me more love than he was before, and I did notice that he was holding back a little. I also knew that he wasn't as emotionally open as I tend to be, so I never looked into it because I knew that he loved me and I knew that he does love me. But now it's like, this is great. Like, I didn't even realize what he was holding back until he wasn't anymore, and it's just really nice to know that I am loved and to feel it and to see it. So yeah, I'm really happy. Things are going really well. I just wanted to share this experience because I'm sure somewhere out there in the universe someone has gone through, is going through, or will go through almost exactly what I did. And I hope that this can bring you some hope and joy and some guidance. And I hope that if you have experience with anything that I might be going through, that you can tell me or help me out. I always love hearing other people's experiences because it just reminds me that you're never alone, even when you feel like you are in your hurt or your pain, that someone out there can relate. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for watching Vlogmas. Just because we are back together doesn't mean Vlogmas is over. I still have great content for you. I had a recent doctor's appointment this week for my health update. I'll be uploading that video soon to give you more details on that, and we're just getting ready for Christmas, so it's gonna be great. I'm going to finish editing this video so I can get it up for you, and I'll see you guys not tomorrow but the next day with my next Vlogmas video.